The NFL trade deadline just ended, and we saw some draft picks get moved to different teams for players. So why not do a 2023 NFL mock draft? But this isn't a normal mock draft. It's a 7-round mock draft. What's crack-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe, and leave this video a thumbs up. Show it some love. Leave a comment, share it, because this video takes a lot of work. From making all the pics, to doing the photoshops, to doing the editing after and whatnot. It really does take a lot of work. So give it all the love you can. And of course, let me know what you think in the comment section below. But first, we gotta go down some guidelines. Number one, this draft order is based on the latest trade I have, which being the Bills trading for Dean Marlowe. So every draft or every trade before that, I've taken and accounted for. If something gets mixed up here, just let me know in the comment section below. There was a lot going on. It's hard to be perfect. Number two, when it comes to how I draft for value typically. So if you're going to argue about, oh, in the 5th or 6th round, yo, my team needed this. It's like, listen, you're typically grabbing guys for your special teams in those areas. So if I don't hit all your needs, keep in mind, that's what free agent's for. If anything, I'm going best player available, and I'm just grabbing good value positions. And if anything, this is really more so to give y'all guys a watch list, maybe some players you haven't heard about yet. And number three, we go by draft classes. It's just easier to cover it that way, so you get to see what your team precisely picked. So let's go ahead, get into it with the Arizona Cardinals. We grabbed, honestly, good players, I thought. We addressed actually needs. I came in here and wanted to focus on the defense with coverage and pass rush. So I added competition and talent to the cornerback room with Christian Gonzalez, Travius Hodges Tomlinson. Pass rush was the next biggest need on the defense, so grab Jared Verse. I kept in mind, hey man, you know what, the Cardinals, they do need center. They're like, that's where they're getting worked right now, mainly because Rodney Hudson's down, but he's also a bit long in the tooth. So grabbing Luke Wiper, who's been very good for Ohio State. Not spectacular. Like, I don't think he's a guy that just pops off the tape, but he's just solid, does his job well. And I mean, for the center position, what more can you ask for? Some people might be a little indifferent about the Kenny McIntosh pick, and I think that's fine. For me, I want to see, we've gotten a chance to see Eno Benjamin as the main back, and it's been okay. So I like the idea of giving someone as versatile as Kenny McIntosh, a guy that could do it as a runner, receiver, and return man, and just adding that to the fold to James Conner and Eno Benjamin. I like that. Tyler Lacey gives them some versatility on the interior. I got Johnny Wilson, who is a big-bodied replacement for AJ Green in terms of depth. Isaiah Lands really just helps more of the edge position. He's a DPR option. And then Gabe Hall is just depth. So overall, I like this class. I addressed what I mainly wanted to be in the defense, pass rush, and corner. Going to the Atlanta Falcons, and really I could have gone a lot of different ways with this class, so I really just wanted to let the draft come to me. So I grabbed pass rush for the squad because they need it, and Felix and UDK Uzama out of Kansas having a banger year, and then grabbing Emmanuel Forbes, who is actually one of the probably one of the best zone corners in college football, and also in terms of the variety of zone he's played there under Zach Arnett at Mississippi State. And you're getting a pick six machine, so adding that to the cornerback room, I like that. Darnell Wright's really a potential replacement if they don't re-sign. Caleb McGarry snagged a speedster, that whether it's in the slot or on the outside, in Zay Flowers. So I like that. And for people are gonna be mad at where Zay Flowers is going in this draft class. It's like, hey, that's how I view him, more as an early day 3. Sorry, or not. Grabbed a big space eater in Keandre Coburn, who's really having a breakout year, I would say. Oluwatimi is a powerful center, perfect for this scheme former. I put him as Virginia. He's at Michigan now. He's a former Virginia center. So let's just all have a big laugh about that. Yeah. And then Brant Kuthi was the addition from the Bills trade. He's honestly going to be a really good special teamer. This is one of the among the last picks in the draft. So, if anything, he's a good receiving option at tight end, but he's probably not going to see the field offensively that much. So, let's go ahead to the Baltimore Ravens, and this one was a bit of a smaller class because they made a trade. They picked up Raekwon Smith. So yeah, here we are. We got 5 picks again. We don't have conditional draft picks yet, so or compensatory, whatever the heck they're called. So Jackson Smith and Jigba. You might be like, oh wow, that's kind of weird, but it's like this is a guy that can create out in space, man. I think that would be really good for Baltimore. Throwing him in the slot because Devin Duvernay is mainly playing outside anyway, so you get a really good slot guy there. So yeah, getting a guy that can create after the catch, I think is huge. And the value was good. Didn't have a pick till 89. So we grabbed DJ Turner from Michigan. He plays in a similar scheme. Keep in mind, Marcus Peters is free agent after this season. KJ Henry is a very versatile piece along the defensive line. So it was just good value. Deuce Vaughn, he just kept falling. And again, a guy with his size, it wouldn't surprise me. I just couldn't find the right spot for him. And I was like, man, I'm here with the Ravens. And it's like, we're in like close to the 5th, might have been the 5th round. I was like, you know what? Send it, yo. No, hold up. Let's get this guy. Like Justice Hill, it's kind of been beat up. And I mean, you could say that about all the Baltimore Ravens running backs. But I mean, this dude is so he's just an interesting weapon to have, whether it's in the return game, receiving game, or even at running back. Like I thought it was just too good to pass up. And then really Carter Warren, it's a late day 3 pick. He's there for depth, if anything else. Having a pretty solid career there at Pittsburgh, but definitely missing some high-end traits. On to the Buffalo Bills, who made some trades today because they're a Super Bowl contending team, so they wanted to become a bit more complete, and that makes all the sense in the world. But let's talk about what they do have here. As we grabbed Antonio Johnson there at safety, which Poyer and Hyde, they're up there in years, so maybe they have a couple of years left on them. If anything, this is a more long-term answer who brings a little bit of versatility, whether you want to play him at corner or in the slot. I thought it was just good value pick. Steve Avila is a good potential replacement either at center or one of the guard spots, so I liked that there. Some of y'all might be confused with Tank Bigsby, but I'm not. I'll tell you why, because I know y'all just added Nyheim Hines. Again, might be more of a short-term answer, even if they keep him long-term, because he's more in the mold of James Cook, of who they drafted, or what they were hoping to get in James Cook. Obviously, James Cook's a rookie, so maybe you don't get it immediately. I'm grabbing Bigsby because, first off, they got rid of Zach Moss. He was part of the Nyheim Hines trade. I think this could be a move to be like, we don't need to retain Devin Singleton or Singletary, so maybe our backfield moving forward would be Bigsby, James Cook, and Nyheim Hines. I kind of love it. So that's why I made that pick there. Tommy Eichenberg brings good depth to the linebacker, especially if they don't bring Tremaine Edmonds back this season. He's got good length, and I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed what I saw from him this past weekend against Penn State. And then Jacob Slade's just really good depth. He's probably an immediate rotation player on the interior on the defensive line. So again, just a good depth option. I feel like that's a ceiling, but at this point, we're at that point in the draft. We're just looking for guys that could either be special teams or maybe even immediate rotation guys, and that's kind of what he was. Now let's go to the Carolina Panthers, and way it fell. Top 2 quarterbacks went off the board, so you probably know what Houston chose, and Detroit. So, haha. But I felt like, you know what, let's go ahead and maybe we wait for the top of the second round, see what's available there at quarterback. So we grabbed Will Anderson. It was kind of a no-brainer. And, dude, pairing him up with Brian Burns, who did not get moved, thank goodness, even though I think the Rams offered 2 first-rounders. Granted, they were in 2024 and 2025. But still, like, I'm glad they held on to him, and now you're going to pair him up with Will Anderson. That's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. We were able to get that quarterback in the second, and Tanner McKee, a guy who has, I think, an NFL arm, not the most mobile guy, but a guy that could throw efficiently to all levels of the field. He could throw with a lot of zip. I'm a big fan of Tanner McKee. And then we grabbed Blake Corum, which might feel like a luxury pick, but really I don't think like Dante Foreman and Chuba Hubbard have looked good. But I don't know. At 51, I was staring down the running back 2 in this class, and I was like, you know what? I'll take that. See if we could get an upgrade or if anything, competition. Like, its value, right? Demarion Overshown we grabbed at pick 84. Because even if Shaq Thompson didn't get moved, he might get moved at the end of the season. And it's linebacker depth. Keydron Smith is corner depth, because you could also say similar things about Dante Jackson. And then Ricky Stromberg could be that long-term answer at center, but again, this is like more of an early day 3 guy, so you're like, maybe if anything it's depth. Dante Demas was just staring me in the face there, and I was like, yo, let's get some size at the wide receiver position. I like that. And then oh man, I'm gonna butcher his first name. Fihoko? I don't know, San Jose State. He was a cat that honestly could have came out last year, but didn't. And he's going to be a fine, probably late day 3, maybe priority UDFA option out of San Jose State. Very productive and plays with a lot of juice. So grabbed him there at the end. He's kind of got this bit of a versatile body type. I think he weighs in at about 265, 270? Here, let's find it. Where you at? Where you at? Oh my gosh. Oh, here you are. 263. But he is a guy that used to be a bit on the heavier side. But dude's got length. Dude's got strength. Is what it is. Let's keep this sucker rolling with the Chicago Bears. Like what I did here. Keep in mind they did get Chase Claypool. So it didn't change what I wanted to do. We're going to pair up Chase Claypool with Quentin Johnston. You got Darnell Mooney there who could go in and out of the slot. And I think you have a very good receiving core there. I just like that. Zach Harrison was there at 57. He's got a lot of upside as a pass rusher. And honestly, I think Eberflus would really like a cat like him. Kalijah Cansey just seems like an Eberflus guy. Reminds me a little bit of a better version of Deo Ogunigbo. You got Jared Patterson grabbing that center, because center has been a nightmare for the Bears. Jared Patterson is probably not a more outside of like John Michael Schmitz. Like Patterson, he has immense experience, tons of it, and has played exceptionally well. Cole Kmet's been meh. I think he got his first touchdown in like a year this past week. But Cade Stover is a late round or a mid-round guy that could probably challenge, if anything, be a solid tight end too. So if anything, he's a very good run blocker. Shane Lee is a run stuffing linebacker. Eberflus will love a guy like that. Just grabbed more O-line help with guys like Connor Galvin and Clark Barrington, who are going to be there as depth initially. Maybe one of them could push themselves into a start spot. Not likely, but it's good depth. And as well as DJ Dale, good depth on the defensive line, because the defensive line has been kind of a weakness for the Bears. So thought we did a solid job there. On to the Cincinnati Bengals, and we add in talent and flexibility at the tackle position with Paris Johnson. Jonah Williams and Leo Collins haven't been that good, so grabbing a guy that can maybe push them. And we know that Johnson also can play guard, as he played right guard for the Buckeyes in 2021. But you want this guy playing tackle, let's be honest. So grabbed him there. Jones has great size, really good scheme fit too. Really good scheme fit. To maybe push Eli Apple. Now you got Chidobe Awuzie out for the year. That really sucks, but if anything, is more so maybe to get an upgrade over Eli Apple, adding competition in the corner position. Always a great thing. Zach Charbonnet, this team lacks physicality at running back, and they really struggle to pick up those short yard, I guess, downs. Like a guy like P. Ryan ain't doing it. So Charbonnet being here at 82, I kind of felt all right with taking. I know some of that scheme-wise with Zach Taylor's scheme there, like they can't run the ball, period. But Charbonnet, man, I just like Charbonnet at this point being a good depth option. Jacoby Widmont is one of the, like, at his best, he plays, I think, at his best as an off-ball linebacker. But he's also a guy that surprisingly could bend the edge. As if you don't remember, he started the season as a edge player before moving back to off-ball linebacker where he normally played at UNLV. Now he's back to playing that at Michigan State. He's been really good this season. We got Xavier Thomas, man. Just gives him another versatile defensive lineman. Big fan. Zachary Franklin. The Bengals badly need depth at receiver. After Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase, they got nothing. And then Payne Durham is just a nice depth piece. Hayden Hurst, he's on a 1-year deal, right? So Durham's just a good depth guy at this point. And then on to the Cleveland Browns. We got Siaki Ika because they have one of the worst run games in football, and he's a nice big space eater. And then we added Zion Toipaloa Feti on the edge. I think he actually kind of fits what they want, that big, mean physicality. Just strong guys out there at edge. He's kind of that. Marvin Mims gives him a slot option, though, who has played a lot on the outside. Gives him some good smooth and slickness at receiver that I think they're really just missing. Cedric Gray, another great run defending linebacker, so we snagged him there. JL Skinner is kind of a tweener safety linebacker, so he's probably going to be more of a sub package guy if he hits the field. Eric Gray was great value at 182. Just great value, especially with there we go, Kareem Hunt. Wow. Kareem Hunt potentially getting traded this offseason. Don't know or maybe his contract's up. I thought he was on a 2-year. I don't know. It's irrelevant. I don't think he's going to be with the Browns at 2023. So Eric Gray felt like a really good option late in the draft. And then DTR here at quarterback, maybe he does a position change. But I thought it was, why not take a shot on a super athletic quarterback who might change positions, kind of like we've seen with like guys like Greg Ward, coming out of, I think it was Houston, right? Who was initially quarterback, moved to slot receiver, and he actually was pretty successful at that with the Eagles. Don't know if he's still with the Eagles, so. All right, next over here, we got the Dallas Cowboys, Osiris Torrance, just a good replacement for McGovern. And then I honestly don't know if the Cowboys are going to bring back Pollard. And I don't know exactly what are they going to do about Zeke's contract. Like, there's a decision that has to be made there. So Jahmyr Gibbs if Pollard does leave, then bam, Gibbs is our guy right here at 60. Mike Morris, he's like 6'6", 290, playing off at the edge for Michigan. He's just he's got that versatile size. I think Dallas will really like that. A.T. Perry gives the Cowboys some size at wide receiver. Woody Washington brings depth and, more importantly, physicality, man. I love how physical Woody Washington is. Tyke Smith is a good slot option that could maybe play safety. If anything, they need a replacement in the slot anyway. Dorian Williams is another very physically minded linebacker who's having a good year. Dylan Horton is just great value and a very good athlete. Very good. Former safety, playing off the edge, but he's up to like 255, 260. Cowboys also drafting, if you remember, was it Nashawn Wright? We're drafting his brother here out of Oregon State. I thought it'd be kind of fun. a late round pick anyway. So I was like, oh, you know what? He's on the board. I liked him last year, and he's been all right this year. I still think he's a late round option, but yeah, let's snag him to the Cowboys. All right, Gojo trying to break in. He knows Kansas City's coming up. But we're on Denver right now, Gojo. So the Denver Broncos. Gojo's my dog, if you don't know who I'm talking. If you're new to the channel, that's my dog. Denver Broncos, who recently just got a first-round pick because they gave the Dolphins Bradley Chubb. Thank you, as always. And I grabbed Broderick Jones there at tackle. Garrett Bowles, I'm kind of curious. Is he in the long-term plans? You would think he would be. But again, like, things can change. Things can happen. But if anything, like, it was really best player at that time. Like, I was surprised that he was available to me at that pick. So I just snagged him, dude. And if anything, he really helps the run game, which has been trash. But then again, do I believe they'll give the football to Javonte Williams when he returns, like, next November? Next year of November. Willie Anderson gives us a potential replacement, or at least a rotation option for Bradley Chubb. I love how much, like, explosiveness. This guy's so fast off the edge. Mikael Jones, some depth at linebacker. And then we got Devin A-Chain, just a nice speedster to pair with Javonte Williams. That's right. I'm not thinking about, what about, they got Chase Edmonds. You saw what happened with him in the Dolphins. Oh, well, they got Melvin Gordon. Take those fumbles out here. They got Latavius Murray. It's good depth. But, yeah, A-Chain brings a lot of speed there. We got Cody Monch out of North Dakota State. Probably one of the FCS guys that'll probably be one of the higher drafted FCS guys in this class. Haven't really done a dive into FCS guys yet, but he's one of the ones that is most talked about. So he's going here. And then Jafari Harvey is a guy with a ton of upside that productions, or at least his productions, never caught up to his upside. So good value here late in the draft. All right, on to the Detroit Lions. As I said earlier, grabbing quarterback Bryce Young. It's a no-brainer. You're picking one. Bryce Young's the top pick. Just do it. I feel like Shia LaBeouf. Just do it. Nolan Smith. I'm not that high on Nolan Smith. I think I did give him a first-round grade, if not top 50. But here at 14, because there's like, you start to look at, like, this large cluster of pass rushers, and you're like, who is probably the best scheme fit? Like, and what it came down to was, you know what? I really like the length and the explosiveness of Nolan Smith off the edge, even though, like, the win rate's not, like, elite, and the production's just been all right. Still, you kind of like that. I think for a guy that's undersized, like, he's a super good run defender. That's actually what sealed the deal here. I was like, you know what? I think Dan Campbell would really like this guy. He'll see the upside of Nolan Smith, but much more so, he's going to be like, ooh, this guy defends the run exceptionally well, even with his size. Gervin Dexter comes in to help that defensive line that has just been lackluster. Jack Campbell just feels like a Dan Campbell guy. Maybe this is Dan Campbell's son. I don't know. Darnell Washington, he was available for me there late. Just couldn't find a right spot for him. So I was like, you know what? Send it, man. I'm not going to lie. Tight ends kind of slipped when I was doing this draft. Kind of put tight ends on the back burner. But Darnell Washington, they just traded TJ Hawkinson, so it makes a ton of sense. You get a really good blocking tight end here with good athletic upside at his size. Devontae Brown has a lot of traits worth developing. Just a guy that hasn't clicked all together for yet. Tywan Mullins, very good corner for Indiana, but probably a slot in the NFL. And then Jameer Carter is not with a lot of production to his name. He's really just been a run stuffer, but a guy that's supposedly supposed to test out exceptionally well. So again, just more depth on the defensive line there. Thought it was a good draft for the Detroit Lions. On to the Green Bay Packers, and we grabbed Olu Fashanu with the first pick. The offensive lines had troubles in general, like whether they can't stay healthy or the play's just not there. So I grabbed a guy with exceptionally good movement skills. Christopher Smith is your potential replacement for Adrian Amos, since Amos is a free agent and is also probably playing the worst football of his career. So fortunately, those aren't fortunately, it's not what you want in a contract year, playing the worst football. Luke Musgrave, because Robert Tonyan is a free agent. Like I said, once the tight ends started sliding, I was like, well, might as well go grab me one. They're here, so let's do it. We have Trey Palmer. He is a very actually nice slot option with return ability. Finally did get to check out Trey Palmer, and I like him in this like early day 3 area. Again, a guy that's really just played in the slot for the most part of his whole career. Actually, I think he is this year. I know he's playing out there at like 70%. And I mean, to be fair, when he was at LSU, he didn't play a lot of football. He played a little bit last year where it was more 50-50, but I think he's finding his most success working out of the slot there. So, and that's kind of been a problem for Green Bay. Like, unless it's Randall Cobb, who's kind of in his prime was like 5 years ago. They're really not getting production out of their supposed slot guys like Rodgers. Nick Herbig staying in Wisconsin, I think provides a nice DPR option. That kind of curious, can he play off coverage? McClendon Curtis is another one of these smaller school guys who is just the rave of the town when it comes to the draft community. So offensive line help, please. Bo Nix, I drafted him because he's freaking Bo Nix. Another guy with a ton of traits, man, but the production's never been on his side, but it has been this year. At least after the Georgia game, it has been there. So, hey, man, there's a shot, man. A team takes Bo Nix like 6th, 7th round. I'm just gonna put it out there. Jalen Redmond, just good depth. Bit undersized for the interior, but could probably play that 5 tech role. All right, on to the Houston Texans, and like I said earlier, they are one of the teams that drafted quarterback, and we did. C.J. Stroud. We also grabbed Myles Murphy. And also, if you think, the Texans, they should probably pass on a quarterback, or at least wait to see what's at 7, it's like, that's just silly. That's just silly. If it's Stroud or if it's Young, you just go with one of those guys. Davis Mills isn't the answer, and you don't want to put off quarterback. Because, again, you never know what will happen with the 2024 class. You never know what will happen with future classes. All you know is what this class is right now. Again, that other draft is a year away. A lot could happen in a year to kill a guy's draft stock. And suddenly the class isn't nearly as good as you thought it was, or something like that. Or maybe you play yourself out of potentially getting a top quarterback, but you're not satisfied. You're stuck in this like mediocrity with your current quarterback situation, kind of like the Raiders have been, and the Vikings and such. So yeah, that's my view on it. Myles Murphy's there. Defensive line was a big focus of mine. I wanted to grab playmakers at essentially in the passing game, and I went in knowing because I already knew quarterback was number 2 for me. I wanted to grab defensive line, and I wanted to grab playmakers in the receiving game, and grabbed Myles Murphy. Kayshon Boutte was there at 34. I thought that was solid. Dalton Kincaid, one of the best receiving tight ends in this class. Love it at 66. Anthony Orji is really just a Lovie Smith type of linebacker. I'm just going to say that. Tyler Davis. Keon White, a guy with interest in, like, his body has changed a lot over the course of his career, from Old Dominion to Georgia Tech. A guy that he could probably play on the edge and the interior. He's got a versatile body type. But we got him and Tyler Davis, and I also snagged Lonnie Phelps, who is the Predator, literally. Got the dreads hanging out his helmet. Looks like Predator on the field for Kansas. Love him. Dude's producing real well. Jaden Reed, added another late round receiver here. So again, just more depth. Also Merlin Robertson, kind of just feels like a Lovie Smith linebacker. I'm just going to say that. Then Starlin Thomas, just his depth. Warren McClendon. Honestly, not a lot of upside with him. He's just kind of a do good tackle, and he just kind of fell. So I was like, yeah, let's snag him up. Why not? So overall, I really like this class for Houston. On to the Indianapolis Colts, who did some wheeling and dealing with Naheem Hines today. And yeah, I don't know why, but all right. Will Levis grabbed him at 15. Listen, I get it. His play hasn't been that great, and I'm not out here to be a Will Levis truther, because y'all know I wasn't particularly high on him. But you look at the arm talent, you look at the arm strength, the ability. You just look at his tools. Guy coming from a NFL system. So it's like, if you just work on his decision making and he cleans that up, then man, you got a really good quarterback here. So taking that at 15, I think it was solid. Grabbed my Paris Campbell upgrade in Josh Downs. Big fan. At a Baraware out of Northwestern I put defensive line because he's like 280. He's got a pretty versatile body, but he's been super productive this season. Zion Nelson could possibly be a contender for left tackle for y'all. Charles Woods fits Gus Bradley's coverage scheme here in the later rounds. Braden Daniels has good versatility across the offensive line, can play really any of the 5 spots. Cam Hart, good corner depth. Keenan Stewart, good defensive line depth. Stewart's a guy I feel like, I don't know, maybe teams will get on. I think he could like elevate to mid-round pick. I think an All-Star Bowl could elevate his stock, but then again, I feel like his production's been stagnant from last year. It's very similar. All right, on to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I just lean into replacing Griffin here with Keely Ringo. We're going to be pairing up Georgia corners with one another. Ringo and Tyson Campbell there. Bam. Gotta love it. BJ Ojolari. Even if they keep Josh Allen, this gives them a scary rotation out there with even with a guy like Trevon Walker who could actually kick to the inside. He's got that size and versatility. Cedric Tillman. I know they grabbed Calvin Ridley, but Tillman gives them a big-bodied receiver, and it was decent value at. Why did I put 37? That was definitely like pick 87. Oh, no. Hopefully I changed that in the editing, but is what it is. We got Matt Bergeron. Oh, man. I don't have his pronunciation in front of me, unfortunately. It is what it is. But listen, it's like Taylor. Like Jawan Taylor could be a free agent after this season. Cam Robinson's kind of like okay. They're currently grooming Walker Little to kind of be an heir apparent there. We're at this point, why not grab another? Jermaine Lowell honestly could have been a day 2 pick if he didn't get hurt last year. Ended up transferring from Arizona State to Louisville, having an all right year. I think he could be an early day 3 guy. Mayan Williams gives your power in a very powerful back with Travis Etienne, so I like that. Another Jonathan Mingo also could be a potential other big-bodied guy. Just add more playmakers. Take shots, see what works out. Also, I didn't take into consideration the Calvin Ridley trade because there's so much could change with that trade. Because there's a lot of those picks are conditional. Like they can change based on when he's expected to be back or if he's still on the roster, like stuff like that. So it's like, since I don't know absolutes with that Calvin Ridley trade, I didn't mess with it, to say that. Anywho, Zach Kuntz at Old Dominion. I think Evan Ingram's more of a stopgap option. Kuntz could add some good depth. Damani Richardson's just a good safety, dude. He's just a good safety. And then another bigger back there in Valladay out of Arizona State. Actually having a really good season. On to the Kansas City Chiefs. Got rid of Rashad Fenton. Kind of broke my heart, man. I've always loved Fenton. But it is what it is. Isaiah Foskey grabbed edge help. Just wanted to add more young parts to this defense. Foskey has a high floor. High ceiling. And then Jaquan Jaquelin Roy is a bit of a project, but he has such good upside, and then having him play next to Chris Jones just takes a lot of pressure off of him. Zach Evans, listen, man, this was really good value for a guy who's just super athletically gifted. And let's be honest about the running back room for the Chiefs. It's just super lackluster. We grabbed a Jordan Morgan because OT could be a problem in 2023, depending on what they end up doing with Orlando Brown. And obviously, Wiley's not a long-term option at right tackle. Jaheim Bell, really kind of that tight end, H-back type of player that they love getting on their roster. And I thought he was good value here. Noah Daniels could have been a day 1 or day 2 pick if he was ever healthy. Injuries cost him a lot, so I figured mid-round I'll roll the dice on him. I'll do it. Habakkuk Baldonado, again, good depth, good length. Could be a rotation guy. Daniel Scott is a good depth, but even better special teamer. I mean, these are all late 7th round picks. So it's like a lot of these guys are going to be special teamers. Jalen Kruper has return ability, good slot player there for Fresno State. Sean Pace, just depth. TJ Bass, depth. Devere Levelston, a little bit of upside here. Dude's got a little pep in the step. But again, at that point in the draft, I'm just like, I don't mind taking on shots on guys that I think, oh, you know what, these guys kind of fell, but they got really good upside. On to the Las Vegas Raiders. And we grabbed Peter Skoronski. I'm not going to lie to y'all, I was tempted to take quarterback, but at this point, the quarterback I'd be considering would have been Will Levis. And I was like, you know what? Let's just go with some offensive line help. Let's try to shore up that tackle spot across from Colton Miller. Tully Toipiloto, I think, would be a real nice 3-5 tech option here for the defense. Good pass rusher as well. As we know, pass rush has been an issue for the Raiders. Drew Sanders helps out actually in that regard as a blitz and linebacker. Like, this guy has natural bend off the edge as well. Like, you can move him to edge, honestly, but can play off ball. Jair Brown was best player available at the time, and on top of that, Jonathan Abram is gone after the year, and he's not good anyway. Layden Robinson, honestly, like he's more of a depth piece at this point, but like he's got upside worth developing. Like, could end up being a starter. Chase Brown, you'll probably bring back Josh Jacobs, but I don't know how much I'll run you. Chase Brown could come in and contend with Zamir White if those are the two guys you end up going with in 2023 as your starting backs. Dontavian Wicks is just a much-needed playmaker here in the late round to add to that. Durrell Chami is a DPR option, which is designated pass rush only, but again, we've talked about pass rush kind of being an issue. Stephen Gilmore, I put as defensive back. Just love his versatility. Could end up being a safety. And then Kendre Miller is a bit different since he's kind of got like that long field speed. He's explosive. So he's a bit different than any of the other backs in the backfield currently for the Raiders. Again, if Josh Jacobs isn't there. And then we got the Los Angeles Chargers, and we're going with Bijan Robinson. Listen, man, I was sitting there at 21, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. Send it. I like this. Eckler, I think, is done after 2023. Even if they bring him back, that could be a really nice 1-2 punch. Clark Phillips, I think, is a very good scheme fit, who has been a pick 6 guy this year. Jalen Hyatt, he was kind of slipping as I was just snagging up. I think it was edge talent that kept flying off the board, and I felt the need to do that. Same with corner. But, yeah, good players fall in the draft. That's just what happens. So Hyatt was available there for me, so I snagged him. Get them that, not just a deep threat, but a legit separator. They need that. Kobe Turner's good depth on the interior line. Avery Young provides a lot of versatility. Like, legit, he has experience everywhere on the defense in the secondary, so grabbing that later in the draft is kind of nice. Mahamoud Diabati is he brings depth and special team experience. And Graham Barton, real good depth, and honestly, low key, like could be a sleeper in this class. Like I don't think he gets past more than maybe mid round value, but still, like he's been pretty solid for Duke. On to the Los Angeles Rams, and I mean, straight up, like they don't have a lot. Like they have a lot of picks, but not a lot of big value picks. Like we're not picking until 46, which honestly has been better than it has been in years. So I tried to do what I can with these draft picks. Wait till we get to the stinking San Francisco 49ers because their draft picks are all late. But I grabbed Anton Harrison because obviously offensive line's been bad, especially the tackle position. So we grabbed him. Byron Young, I think, is a cat with like he's already got traits, right? He already has traits. He might be an older prospect, but I think he's a guy that could come in and contribute immediately, which I think they really, really need because this team has no pass rush outside of Aaron Donald. The Rams are kind of a win-now team, so grabbing players that can probably make big splashes immediately. I thought Young was good value there. Ladarius Henderson, again, kind of gives more depth on the offensive line. Chris Rodriguez Jr., I think, is a good addition here. Kind of like, remember how Sean McVay always had a love for Malcolm Brown? That's kind of what Chris Rodriguez would be. As we've seen, like they like to run a good amount of inside zone plays, and that's a majority of what Rodriguez plays in college or played in college. If you didn't know, the now OC for the Rams used to be the OC for Kentucky, so he's going to be familiar with Rodgers. KJ Jefferson, listen, might not be a quarterback in the NFL. Might not be a quarterback. I figure Sean McVay will figure it out. At 173, I'm down to take a chance. Jonah Tavea adds really good pass rush upside on the defensive line. Emil Core Jr. was just really good value. It was really best player available at that point. Stephon Blaylock is just a guy that can play anywhere on the defensive secondary if you want him to. Preferably, he's really just a special teamer, but he's got that experience. Nathaniel Dell, let me straight up. I'm just gonna say, better Tutu Atwell. That's all I'm gonna say. Patrick Paul, guy with a bit of upside, might end up playing. Currently plays, I think, tackle for Houston. Might end up playing guard. And then Gabriel Murphy out of UCLA. Just again, getting some more horses to be pass rushers here. And then the Miami Dolphins, who, hey, they just acquired Bradley Chubb, but now they don't have a first-round pick anymore because they also forfeited their pick. As you see, pick 24, that would have been where we picked. We forfeited it, so it gets skipped. But with the picks that we did have, this is what I did with it. Jordan Battle was best player available and also just a really good scheme fit. Honestly, could be an upgrade over Brandon Jones. And if anything, teams are playing more 3 safety sets anyway, so getting Battle in the mix there is fine. Tyreek Stevenson is kind of a freak athlete at his size, and we need some cornerback depth, especially with Byron Jones potentially being a cap casualty. Keanu Benton, I think, has a good skill set to complement Christian Wilkins, and if anything, he's just good depth. And then, I mean, these are mid to late round picks. Josh Wiley, Mike Gesicki, he's a free agent after the season, might not be back with the team, so grabbing another tight end there. Caleb Chandler, honestly, he's a big boy who moves exceptionally well. We need some help on the offensive line. Really wish I could have done more with the offensive line, but you can kind of only, if the value's not there, the value's not there, On to the Minnesota Vikings, who did get TJ Hawkinson today, by the way, BT Dubs. But I went Trent Simpson in the first round at pick 30. Because really, they don't know what they have yet in Brian Asamoah. Kendricks could be a cap casualty, if not this season, next season. So Trent Simpson, honestly, I think gives them good upside there. Xavier Hutchinson at pick 94, just a big-bodied vertical threat. I think be a good complement with those other targets. Jacorian Bennett is just good depth and was best player available at the time. Mohamed Ibrahim, I Alexander Madison is a free agent after the season. So you get a back here who honestly has a lot of production behind his name. Unfortunately, has played a lot, or has a lot of miles on him. But it is what it is, man. He's proven. Jackson Kirkland, offensive line depth. And then I like taking a shot on Liatu Latu. There will be concerns with the neck, but this guy, in terms of being a DPR option, like designated pass rush only, it's up there, dude. It's up there. He's a scary player that, like, honestly, you could probably only play if you want, could play a handful of times a game, but like anytime you play him, he could be in that backfield creating chaos. Like, he could, even if he's just a situational player, he's a guy I don't mind taking a shot on. All right, on to the New England Patriots, who have quite a bit of picks here. But I grabbed Jordan Addison in the first. They need a spark from their playmakers. Addison can be that. Blake Freeland could be a long-term answer for Isaiah Wynn, though Wynn didn't get moved at the trade deadline, so who knows. Jonathan Jones is a free agent, so I like the addition of Chris Abrams-Drain. Dude's a ball hawk at the corner position, former wide receiver. Went best player available at 116, grabbing Brandon Joseph, who, I mean, could be a replacement. Just going to throw out there, could be a replacement for Devin McCourty. Or, you know what? Could also play in the slot. Guy's a ball hawk as well. Riley Moss, honestly, if anybody was going to draft a white corner, it'd be Bill Belichick. But Moss is a speedster, so we grabbed him there. Zach Pickens has a lot of upside worth developing, so I thought that was a nice pick. Israel Abanikanda brings speed. This backfield kind of lacks speed, and he has that. Yabi Oki, honestly, another guy with a lot of upside that's worth taking a shot on. Charlie Thomas is a tackling machine, and again, we're just making late round picks at this point. Elijah Higgins, tall, fast, vertical target, and then Corey Durden, nose tackle with some good upside, could be good depth. So that's what we did for the Patriots. On to the New Orleans Saints. Hendon Hooker, pick 40. Am I crazy? You know what? Hendon Hooker comes into the situation here where he is already surrounded by a ton of talent, and this could maybe prolong that Super Bowl window the Saints have, or think they have. So I thought this was actually a really good spot for Hendon Hooker, because obviously they're not happy enough with Jameis to start him in front of Andy Dalton. Maybe he's not fully healthy yet, but I don't know. We grabbed Devin Witherspoon because I think it's good. You will always want good competition and depth at the cornerback spot. Kobe Wooden is, I don't know. You know what? Peyton Turner can't seem to see the field, so maybe Kobe Wooden can, who's kind of got a similar skill set. Nick Broecker adds depth on I was going to say kind of a porous offensive interior, but like honestly, Cesar Ruiz has played much better. Like, maybe he's turned the corner, who knows? But still doesn't mean that they're by any means complete on that interior offensive line. Yaya Diaby is similar to Zach Bond. So, like, he's not like a traditional linebacker. Like, he can drop back into coverage. But also, he brings a little bit of pass rush and upside to him. So, I thought that was an interesting pick there late in the on day 3. And then Trevor Browning is down in his depth. All right, on to the New York Giants, the football Giants. That's right, I picked Anthony Richardson. I was like, you know what, at 28, let's take a shot on him. Let's do it. There was a small pool of players that I decided that I was going to peg as returners, so I didn't include them in here. Excuse me. Richardson's such an enigma. I honestly think he could come out, and like, you're there at the back end of the first round. Like, why not take a shot on him? Giants fans, don't you tell me Daniel Jones is the answer. He's not the truth. I promise you. Like, he's fine. He's fine until you can find your next guy. That's the thing. Until you can find your franchise guy, he's fine. We grabbed Cooper Beebe to kind of help with the offensive interior because that interior kind of blows. Giants need playmakers or receivers. Rashee Rice was there for me. Mekhi Garner has very interesting size at defensive back. Like he's kind of as big as a box guy. So gives you a very versatile piece in the secondary there. Owen Popo just has the athletic profile I think Wink Martindale would really like. Nick Hampton is a very productive DPR guy. You got Eddie, I always butcher his last name, but it's fine, who's just a good linebacker. If anything, he's going to be a good special teamer and a good team player. Really, a lot of leadership this guy has. Travis Dye, I think, could potentially be upgraded from Matt Breida. Potentially. Trevor Reed is depth. Jordan McFadden is depth, and Brew McCoy. Maybe this is someone that can be your Kenny Galladay. But overall, I like this draft, man. I think a lot of people are gonna hate on the Anthony Richardson pick, but hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. He had to go somewhere. On to the New York Jets, and I went Brian Branch. I know historically this isn't what Saleh or Joe Douglas like to do, but I like Branch in terms of him being a potential replacement for LaMarcus Joyner, whether a guy that could play in the slot or he could play traditional safety, deep safety, anything like that. Now, Andrew Voorhees, this is more of a Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas pick. And Voorhees used to play next to Elijah Vera Tucker. So reunited, and it feels so good. So I like the addition of Voorhees there. I grabbed Dion Henley, who he's another guy who has that Fred Warner-esque feel to him. Does he ever reach that? Probably not. Good luck. But at least you get a guy that could maybe do some similar things. Sam Laporta, Saleh, you know what? He saw a nice tight end from Iowa on his old San Francisco team. So maybe he snags one here with Sam Laporta. Keontae, or I always mess up his first name, but Mr. Thompson, there from Virginia, is just still raw to the receiver position, but he's such a nasty after the catch. Like, dude forces missed tackles like nobody's business. I think he's either first or second in college football right now with like 30 or 28. So perfect fit for this scheme. And then Joe Tippmann, just great movement skills, ideal scheme fit. On to the Philadelphia Eagles, where I went best player available, and it was Brian Brazee for me, so we snagged him there. I went Andre Carter because I do think the Eagles have time to develop a guy like Carter who might need a year and a half, 2 years before he actually makes a real difference for your squad, which, I mean, he has time there. I mean, you got guys like Brandon Graham, Robert Quinn, so he's got time. You could develop this cat. At 64, I grabbed Sean Tucker because Miles Sanders is a free agent after the season. Sean Tucker was good value. Quindale Johnson, even if they do retain Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, getting a guy who can be rangy like Quindale, I think would be nice to compete with Marcus Epps. Mekhi Blackmon is good scheme fit, but mainly offers special teams. And then Grayson Murphy is kind of like, I feel like the role he would play would be like Hassan Reddick. Because I think he could shed some weight if you wanted to. If you wanted to, he doesn't even need to. You could just play Y9. But this was literally a very late 7th round pick. So, yeah. Pittsburgh Steelers. I went ahead and grabbed Jalen Carter at 4 because it made all the sense in the world with who was off the board. Jaron Williams I snagged because they need cornerback help even with William Jackson. Parker Washington. This is off the Chase Claypool trade. Parker Washington may sound kind of funky, but I mean, this is the dude that he adds another guy that can create after the catch, like in a big way, and a guy that really high points the football too. So he offers a little margin for error in terms of ball placement that we've occasionally seen with Kenny Pickett. You might be like, oh, we drafted that Memphis cat last year, who I really liked. I can't think of his name at this point. But I mean, Parker Washington's got better size, literally built like a running back. And who's to say, man? Maybe you got this nice 4-man rotation at a wide receiver. Anywho, man, I like the pick. I double dipped at tackle. Because again, at 35 and 44, kind of the top tackles were off the board. So grabbing Javon Foster, I thought was pretty solid. And then DeJuan Jones, I was just like, let's just take multiple shots. Just increase our chances of hitting on one of these guys. And best case scenario, we hit on both. Rashad Torrance could be that Terrell Edmunds replacement, as Torrance is more of a box safety. And then Cam Jones, just good depth out of Indiana. And then the San Francisco 49ers, like I said, first pick isn't until pick 100. So I grabbed Cedric Van Pran. Listen, honestly, the Niners offensive line has been pretty solid. But listen, Jake Brendel's been okay this year, but I think you could upgrade from him. So Cedric Van Pran, that's where we're going with. Jaron Hall, you might be like, oh, this is dumb. Listen, after Jimmy G leaves, you have no backup quarterback. Jaron Hall, I think, could be a high-end backup quarterback. Especially if Trey Lance gets hurt again. So I snagged him. 157, Jamie Robinson. Just brings good versatility at the safety position. Trey Benson, love this pick. He brings crazy good speed and return ability. Like, I think he's just a good fit for this Niners team, and they always seem to bring in running backs every year. Byron Young out of Alabama is the interior, and really is just for depth. Jarek Bernard Converse, again, another depth option, as you're going to see. Like, look at this is all late 7th round. So it's like, yeah, these are really just depth guys. Moro, Ojamo, Asheem Young, honestly, probably doesn't get drafted. Kind of a checkered past from his recruiting out of high school. Guy was involved in an armed robbery of a Wawa. Kind of wild. Apparently has changed, like, totally turned a new leaf and whatnot. And he's actually he played really good football at Iowa State, now doing it at Ole Miss. So might not be that bad of a late round option. And then Eric All, another good depth option there. And then the Seattle Seahawks. Actually, this is one of my favorite drafts. I grabbed Tyree Wilson, who I think is just a good scheme fit here for the Seahawks. And then Eli Ricks, honestly, he could end up going higher. It depends on how he does the rest of the season. But adding him there they got Kobe Bryant in the slot, and then Tariq Woolen on the other side. Ooh. John Michael Schmitz, dude, solid. Center's kind of been a not good position for the Seahawks. So grabbing him is nice. Noah Sewell. Listen, they want a train at a linebacker. Well, Noah Sewell's a train at linebacker. Mozzie Smith is a good nose tackle. They've been kind of looking for a guy who could be a high upside nose tackle. Tyler Nubbin is good size and length at the safety position, not necessarily a guy that has to start. I mean, you don't expect guys on day 3 to be immediate starters in general. Jacob Cohen maybe challenges D. Eskridge for that wide receiver 3 spot. Well, maybe 4 at this point. We're seeing Goodwin over Eskridge. But also grabbing Tucker Kraft here at a South Dakota State. I have a feeling with how Will Disley is seeing more of the time than Noah Fant, that Noah Fant isn't in the long-term plans for the Seahawks after this season. And then Roshan Johnson's just a very good backup running back. Added him to the fold here. All right, and then we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where grab Joey Porter, considered quarterback, not gonna lie to you, is what it is, but with Sean Murphy-Bunting and Jamel Dean as free agents, just decided to snag one of those top corners. And then going to the linebacker, the Bucs, they don't have to sign Devin White to a long-term deal, especially with how bad his play has been this year. So Henry To'oTo'o, snagged him here. A guy with very good upside as well, and actually playing a very good season this year. Derek Hall. Bucks need pass rush bad. I know they're hurt, but still, even before that, they needed more guys that could get to the passer. So just add in more competition, more talent there. Michael Penix, bam! You got a wonderful another developmental quarterback there with Kyle Trask. Because let's be honest, Tom Brady's playing forever. Jartavius Martin's just a wonderful athlete for the position. So I think a guy that could play in the slot, maybe even the play one of the safety positions, because I know they got Antoine Winfield playing a lot in the slot now. Ali Gay just has NFL size and length, so just felt like a good fit. Cameron Latu just comes in for tight end depth, just to do it all. Good tight end. Tyler Beach's depth. Tavion Thomas, honestly, big back that maybe could replace Leonard Fournette. Not necessarily, but I mean, a guy you can bring in. Again, it's a late round option, is what it is. And we got the Tennessee Titans, where I took Michael Mayer. Listen, he's a good fit for this offense. Jig Okonkwo is more of this tight end 2 H-back type of role. So honestly, this is a team that plays a lot of 12 and 13 personnel anyway, so why not? Michael Mayer would be a great option. Jalen Duncan, listen, Taylor Lewan probably going to be replaced. I mean, his play's been down the last few years anyway, and really his replacement isn't on the roster, I think, so grabbing Duncan here. Caillou Blue Kelly, just a nice physical corner, feels like a Vrabel type of corner. Isaiah McGuire is a versatile edge rusher that provides good depth. This one may seem weird because they just got Hassan Haskins last year. But listen, man, Dwayne McBride is a legit physical, big running back. They want a guy, if Derrick Henry goes down, that can come in and at least be a good Band-Aid. And honestly, I feel like McBride could be more that guy than Haskins. Then I don't even know if Haskins is on the roster still. I mean, they should be. He was a 4th-round pick. And then, honestly, Jacob Copeland, he's a legit separator. Seen a little bit of time there in Maryland, actually, and that's a very tough, that's a good receiving core they got there in Maryland, so it's tough to see some quality time there. But guy's a legit separator that they're missing on that offense. And then, finally, we got the Washington Commanders. I grabbed Cam Smith, considered quarterback there, obviously, but decided, you know what? Especially now that William Jackson's gone, they need cornerback help. So grabbing him there. DJ Uyunglele. Listen, man, give me a guy that could probably sit with huge upside. So that's why I took him there. You could start your Tyler Heineke or your Carson Wentz for a year while DJU gets it all together. Cole Honeycomb is fine, but Ivan Pace is just sexy. I'll just say that. I like Cole Honeycomb. Where's it Holcomb? Why do I say Honeycomb? Maybe I want some Honeycomb. I like him honestly for the Commanders, but Ivan Pace is sexy and a guy you could actually scheme a lot of stuff for. Brandon Dorless provides some depth, especially with Deron Payne being a free agent. Javion Cohen provides depth on the interior, more so the guard position for the Commanders. Then Evan Hall. Antonio Gibson's a free agent after 2023. And honestly, maybe you try to look into the future there. I don't know. Evan Hall, we're getting close to the 200 picks. This is just you're grabbing guys that you think are really good, and he's pretty good. Ryan Hayes is good depth as well. And then Anaya Smith, honestly, was best player available at that point. I think a combination of, the arrest before the season and then getting hurt this year. Honestly, he was lighting it up before he got hurt. I don't know how much that hurts his stock, but I wasn't particularly high on him anyway. But really good, versatile option you could add here and do a lot of fun things with. But yeah. That's it for the video. Go ahead, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hopefully you enjoyed it, show it some love. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.